go back in time and say, how did this all start? Was because my husband knew that I could sing well, and he was like, why don't you sing? It's great. I mean, it's an extension of who you are, and you sing so well, so you should do it. Well, there are sometimes fans who, follow you, they start screaming your name, and, they want to come and hug you, or they want to meet you, they want to do that at any cost, and they'll fight with people to rush into you. And yeah, it does happen. Because when I had done Mohabbat and Raja with him, he was comparatively new. He had just done 3 or 4 films before working with me, and I was a star at that time. But it's wonderful to see how much he's grown as an actor, and the way he performed for Fame Game. I was very, very impressed. Hi, this is Madhuri Dixit, and you're watching me on ETimes.
Samina Sheikh here, and with me today I have the very gorgeous, the stunning, the evergreen Madhuri Dixit, welcoming her on ETimes. Ma'am, you look lovely. As I told you, I complimented you, and so does your song. So tell us something about it. It's your second album, and how was it working on it?
Thank you so much, and glad to be talking to you, Samina. Yeah, I mean, this song is part of my album. It's the second song I'm releasing. The first one was Candid, which I had written in lockdown. This is the second one, and it's all got to do with the backstories of being a star, right? The film star. I called the album that, and it's the stories about how it is to be a star. Now, being a star, the big part of being a star is having fans, right? They make you who you are. And when we sat down to write the songs, I said, I want one song which talks about the fans, because I have worked for like 35 plus years, and the kind of support I've received from my fans, the way they have encouraged me, cheered me on through thick and thin, my failures or success. They didn't care about that. They just loved me, and it was unconditional. So I thought, it's always one-sided. Like, they always tell you how much they love you, but I want to write a love letter to them this time and say that how they make me feel, So when I'm down, they make me feel, good, and they are my strength, and those kind of things I want to do. So me and Raja Kumari, who is, we have collaborated on this, and Narendra Singh, who's done the music. So we all sat together and we kind of discussed the ideas, and we wrote the song together, and then we kind of, made it happen. But to go back in time and say, how did this all start? Was because my husband knew that I could sing well, and he was like, why don't you sing? It's great. I mean, it's an extension of who you are, and you sing so well, so you should do it. And I was like, yeah, I've thought of it before also, but it never really happened. I was so busy. And so he said, why don't you do it now? It's never too late, And so we met Sad Bisla, who's an A&R, and he said that, you do have a voice, and you should sing. You should definitely do that. And that's how we met Raja Kumari and Narendra Singh. And I trained for some time with a vocal coach, Mr. Ron Anderson, who has trained everyone from Whitney Houston to Ariana Grande to The Weeknd. You name it, he has, taught them. And I trained with him for a while. And then we went into the studio and we started writing our songs and composing them and doing all that. And that's how, this album happened.
But also, I must say, like, your husband always encourages you to keep on.
Yeah, I wish everybody gets a husband.
He always, touch wood, like, he always keeps on experimenting you, asking you to experiment, things, new things and all. And that is the reason, I really noticed one thing, a lot of changes in you. Earlier you would focus only on your acting and your dancing skills and all. But at the same time, right now, you're into OTT, you're into singing, you're into production, you're into, writing scripts and all, you're into singing. All right. So it's like, you're actually like diversified roles right now. How does that feel?
Well, it feels wonderful because it has always been a part of me, but I had not really explored it because I was so busy doing, my acting, and I was so busy. I was doing 2-3 shifts at that time. It didn't really leave me time to do anything. And but it's all has been a part of me. I've always been singing. In school, I used to sing on stage. In college, I used to sing on stage. My mom is a classical singer, so in the house we have the whole atmosphere of music and dance and everything. So it's always been a part of me, but never really exploded. I never challenged myself to do that, And because he encouraged me and he said, no, you should do it. What's there? Just do it, And it kind of, I was like, okay, I'll do it. And let's do it. Let's do it together and let's try. And so that's how, but I can never do anything half-heartedly. Like, I won't just do it for the heck of it. Then I'll have to work towards it. I have to work hard for it. I have to make sure everything is right. When I go into a studio, I want to sound good and, and make it feel right. And it has to mean something, not only to me, but even to the listener. It has to convey something. It has to mean something every time. Like first single Candle was about, being in the worst of times, but being like a beacon of light for others. Whatever turmoil is happening in your life, you have to forget that and you have to be like the candle in a hurricane. You have to burn bright. So that is what we spoke about in that. And this one, it's like my love for my fans and what I feel about them. So that emotional connect has to be there always for me, for any of the songs I do. So so that's why, I took my time and we created this. And now it's the audience is listening to it. So it's been a wonderful journey and it's wonderful to have him by my side all through.
But at the same time, when we talk about emotions, Madhuri, we have also seen that, and we have, even Rajkumar Santoshi recently said that you are someone who chooses to not express what you're going through. You let your stress be aside, your personal issues on aside when it comes to professional commitments. You're that thorough professional that, years ago also when you're going something, you're going through some tough time and, you didn't let it come in your way of work. What motivates you and how do you manage that? Because for a lot of people, like, for us also for that matter, we cannot we just flow with the emotions. Oh my God, something like that has happened. But you are someone who's very, very adamant with your professional commitments. I must say that.
Yes, I am, because I think it's not only me, but there are other people who are involved in it. It's not just, I cannot think only about myself, but I have to think of my producer, I have to think of my director, I have to think of my co-stars, and I have to think about me, because whatever I do, I have to put everything aside and be in that moment and get it done properly. And then, of course, you go back to whatever the troubles are and you go and you solve it or you resolve it or you try to do that. But when I'm in front of the camera, it's that moment that I am in that moment, I have to forget everything else, because that's the character I'm playing and that's the scene I'm going to do, whether it's comedy or it's emotional or whatever the scene is, or it's a dance or whatever. So I'm there, and rest all is kind of pushed aside because there is a commitment there.
I also saw your role in the Fame game and it was just too good. It was something very different, I must say. One day mein full I finished the season. I was like, that
wow.
want to. And after such a long time, seeing you, even with, Sanjay and, even with, your chemistry with Manav was just too good. How was it working on that? And a lot of fans of yours are asking when the Fame Game 2 is coming. And of course, even I want to know, because the way it ended actually, because I really want to know what happens next.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we have to talk to Netflix about that. But there is something in the offing, and of course, you'll have to question them, not me. But yeah, it's a very positive response and a positive response is always good for a second season. So you know what I'm saying. Yeah, it was great working, because I was working with Sanjay after so many years. And it was wonderful to see, because when I had done Mohabbat and Raja with him, he was comparatively new. He had just done 3 or 4 films before working with me, and I was a star at that time. But it's wonderful to see how much he's grown as an actor, and the way he performed for Fame Game, I was very, very impressed. And with Manav, I've seen his work. He's a fabulous actor, and all the scenes we have together are so beautiful and so well written that that the chemistry just happens, the way the roles are written. And he's a wonderful person, very, very involved in the scenes, and he's a brilliant guy. And so, and he himself is a writer, and I came to know that once I met him on the set, that he writes books and he writes about travel, he writes novels, and he's so talented, multi-talented guy. And even the kids who worked with me, they are brilliant. I mean, they're such good actors, they're newcomers, but they are very good actors. So I think everything just fell into place with Fame Game. And of course, it touched on so many different topics. like mental health, like sexuality, like what happens in the industry, sexism,
Man.
ageism, everything.
Yeah.
We just
And
talked
the way
about
the
it.
fans are, the way the fans are also, the fan was very crazy. I must say that. The way,
Yeah, it's not all fans are like that. Not all fans
yeah.
are creepy. Once in a while, there might be one.
Come
And the
across
funny
any
thing,
fan
he's so good. That actor is so good at what he does. Like when I meet him, also I feel a little creepy. Then I think, "Arey, he's an actor. He was just playing a role."
But
You know,
have you come
so
across a fan like that ever? Like who's been such, such creepy, or like, someone who's just shocked you?
well, there are sometimes fans who, follow you, they start screaming your name and, they want to come and hug you or they want to meet you. They want to do that at any cost and they'll fight with people to rush into you. And yeah, it does happen, but not someone who's destructive. I've not met someone like that. Even in the Fame game, he's not a destructive guy. It's just that he has this delusion about who I am and he thinks I'm his mother and, all that. So it's like a crazy fan.
How was your birthday celebration this year? Because
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And I was missing my son. He's in college. So I'm waiting for him to come. He's coming any day now. And then probably we'll have a celebration when he comes back.
as you also talk about, how people are around you, the fans around you, your smile lights up the room. And a lot of people of yours actually say that. And it's actually very true. Has that ever saved you from a situation where you have been like put up and you just want to escape?
A lot of times, like, please, you just smile and say, "Ho jayega na," you say. So it happens, yeah, a smile is always a good weapon, like I say.
How do your kids react to your old performances and the movies you have done? Has that made them cry?
No, I mean, we don't watch my films in my house. It's silly.
Hmm.
But if they are somewhere, they watch some song. That day, my son was like, "Oh, very cool, mom." I said, "Why?" He says, "I saw your song in Pukar, and he said, "Oh, you danced very well, and that was cool, and all the moves were very different, and it was very cool." So it's like they have not watched a lot of my movies. We don't sit at home and watch my movies. It's very silly. So for them, I'm their mother first, and then everything else. It's they don't carry any baggage or they don't sit through a movie and watch it. But they did watch Fame Game and they liked it, and they said, "Mom, the scenes were so beautiful," and they liked all the characters and the way everything comes together. So they appreciated that.
You're also playing a queer character in your upcoming project for Amazon. That's been there in the news. Can you tell us something about upcoming projects?
I can't say anything about it. There are many rumors doing around. We'll see when the time comes.
So if you have to say something about your upcoming projects, is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, there are a lot of projects in the pipeline, and one thing after another. I think the first will be the Amazon Prime movie. And there are other things which will slowly develop. And as they develop, I will let you guys know.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.